training for us, and we'll support that, and it'll be a good partnership. And then they found out that the answer to that inquiry was, well, yes, but you're going to have to go into individual negotiations. Let's see, we figured out all the places you want training. So that'd be about 35 community college districts you're going to have to go to and individually negotiate, a contract to get the training done. Well, PG&E went, no, and they built their big school up by Walnut Creek up there instead to the training itself. So that's one of our Achilles heels. Remember, we were created as community college. Literally, we did what the local community wanted us to do, and they funded us through their property taxes. Now we're a state entity, but we're not a state system. Okay? And that's the biggest frustration that business has with us. They assume the chancellor somehow can pick up a phone and go, hey, Fresno, do this. No, we are not a system. We are a loose confederation of independent institutions held together by a common complaint over lack of funding. That's us. Our new.
That's a good quote. Can we put that at the end of our emails?
We can put that up in your office. That is true. Our new vice chancellor for CTE education and Belton Grove, very wise person, very original, creative, came out of the business field. She, poor lady, she just went, wham, just hit a stone wall, because she came up with ideas and okay, we can all just do this and we can do this. Yeah, well, no, you got 70 independent boards there. Chancellor's office has no statutory authority over the community colleges, except one. They get to decide what to fund, and that's the leverage. And I always kept that in mind, but it's a good thing for keeping your CIO pocket. Sometimes you really want to do something, and then the state goes, well, if you read the regs, it's actually what they're saying is, we won't pay for it. We won't pay for it. So if you want to do something as a college, it's very unique. Give credit for it. Give a certificate for it, and it doesn't match some funding criteria. That's okay. Go ahead and do it. If you can afford it, do it. Because the state can't tell you what you can and can't do. You can do anything you want to. If you present a bill, they might say, we're not going to pay for it. So, but I did that. We did a lot of interesting things at College of the Canyons. We created a whole Institute on Teaching and Learning because many of our adjunct faculty had, well, let's face it, most community college faculty have no formal training in teaching. I just got to admit that. It's supposed to be the teaching institution, and almost all of our faculty have had no training in teaching at all. Because we follow the university model, their degree, you got your math degree, so you must be able to teach math, right? So we created a whole institute, curriculum, had curriculum committee approval curriculum, units. It was a regular school essentially, right within our school. The state said no, we won't fund it because that's subdivision. We did it anyway. And our adjuncts were enrolled in it. We give them salary credit if they complete the program. It was great, a lot of fun. So you have a lot of freedom, you just don't have a lot of money to do what you want to do. So that brings us to today. I want to get back to that. So in California then, the legislature under pressure really from the feds and from business and industry, and then from the field, the growing realization in the field that we're not meeting the demands. If you look at 14 years of enrollment in the California Community College, 14 years in a row, transfer general ed goes up. Right? Just more students, more CTE. We're at the same level we were 14 years ago in terms of career education. Why? Because it's expensive, we use money at it. Most of us aren't trained in it. Hey, right out of graduate school, neurophysiology, physio-psych, I had no jack about business and industry. I didn't know how to speak their language, I interact with them. We have a problem in the administration because most administration follows the university model. They come out of student services or academia themselves, you see, and they know that. They know how to speak academic ease really well. They know how to speak business. So a growing realization within the institutions that we're not doing a good job at CTE led then to a year of gathering information, having hearings, taking input, and that, as you know, I think all of you know, resulted in a series of 25 recommendations on CTE that were actually approved formally by the Board of Governors this last year. Actually, those 25 recommendations each have subcategories. If you add up all those, there's 104 recommendations on CTE. So any interest you have in CTE, you can find a recommendation to pin your hopes to. The key one for us, of course, is recommendation 7D. Okay, officially approved by the Board of Governors. Support faculty and colleges in developing and expanding the use of contract ed to meet the dynamic needs of business and industry in an expedited manner. And that's why I'm here today. The board for contract education, which Mark's a part of, adopted this statement this last year to strengthen contract education's capacity, sustainable, viable, and share, and so on and so on. So CTE has the spotlight now, and contract ed also has a spotlight. So this is, if you want to change things, this is the time to do it. Now, to make this happen, of course, we need funding. All right, funding. So funding is a big issue. The legislature said, okay, we're willing to fund. We tried to get the legislature to fund CTE on a differential funding type basis. That was the original goal. Back in last October, I was working with the Chancellor's office. I came up with a model on how we could fund CTE based on its relative cost. It had to do with the number of students and cost, and some of you were in a presentation where I presented that. The idea was that you simply would fund CTE programs at a higher rate, per student, if that program wasn't at like 30 students on average. Now, the legislators, no, not that they didn't trust us, but they just didn't trust us. So instead, the legislature came up with a performance-based funding model, okay, which I'll give you a copy of later on when we discuss it. So there is funding, $200 million set aside for the California Community College, year one, with a promise that it will be, sustained. Just $200 million next year and the year after that. Money's divided into regional monies that go to your region, and then monies to each individual college according to a formula that'll be forthcoming. So Fresno City College will have a chunk of change, to do something in CTE. The general mandate is you have to do either more or better. That is, you have to expand your CTE. You can expand it either by adding programs or adding students to existing programs, or you have to do better, meaning that your programs have to have a better placement rate, better salary outcome for the students. There's a series of criteria you don't need to worry about.
I have a question. With that funding that's going to be allocated soon, does that also include contract education?
Yes, absolutely.
It does.
Wow,
Absolutely. That's the point of today, that we want you guys to be in on the discussions with your administrators.
That's good to know,
Okay.
because that was not the understanding.
Well, sorry.
No, that's good news
It
for
is.
me.
This is it, right here. This is recommendation number 7D, okay? And the funding, clearly, the definition of better in these CT programs is that it meets one or more of the recommendations adopted by the Board of Governors, okay? Now, we also clear up the idea that it doesn't have to be program specific. So if I'm going to give some money to, my welding program, okay, can I also give some money to programs that will support the welding program, but will support other programs as well, okay? And the two that come to mind are career-related counseling, probably a good expenditure of money. Hire a career tech, counselor who works with students who are in one or more vocational programs. Back in the good old days, before Prop 13, we actually had a huge counseling staff at Chaffey College, and we had like a counselor just for nursing, a counselor just for aeronautics, and a collection like that, who knew all the ins and outs and how to get placement officers. I think would be a spectacularly innovative thing to add to our staff. We don't do that now. Well, we have the little centers, and the students can come look on the computers and find out information. No, you need someone out there who's finding the jobs in the community and plugging the students into those jobs, you know, by forming a relationship with that business.
So I have a thought. So, but in looking at this, it also asks us to look at contract ed maybe differently than we have before,
Sure.
because we have to somehow tie it back into a metric.
Right.
Right.
Well, one of my themes today is going to be how to do that. How to get your program integrated into the rest of the college. Extremely important for the college. I'm not doing it just because like you guys want you to, but when I was a CIO and then a college president, I discovered, and I can't take credit for it, I was taught by an outstanding contract ed staff how important it was to have an outstanding contract ed program. It became an incredibly important tool for me, you know, even though I was, you know, from academia, an academic administrator, to have that person and that staff be part of. And so at College of the Canyon, still today, the head of, you know, contract education sits, you know, on the round table of administrators, you know, at that college, and as an integral part of planning and what they're doing and so forth and so on, because they have so much to bring to the table.
That's interesting. We evolve the same way.
Good.
And we sit in that circle, which makes the conversation very integrated
Yes.
to the evolution of programs.
Yeah.
And again, I can't take credit. Well, Terry was at a different role in my younger life, but it was about 25 years in the making to arrive at a point where
Right.
there's a centered conversation to every week.
So let's get down to it, okay? Let's, here, do you want to take, no, we'll keep going. You're okay. We're okay. First, I have to do my disclaimer, because I'm a consultant, okay? I work for the Chancellor's office, but I do not speak for the Chancellor's office, so you may not say after this meeting, the Chancellor's office said we could do this, all right? Because I don't have that authority. I'm going to give you suggestions. I think they're workable. I've used a lot of them myself, and I'll give you some examples of that. But they are mine, okay? They are not the Chancellor's office. So no shoulds, okay? No shoulds. Can or cannot, but there is no should, okay? From the Chancellor's office. Yeah. Okay. Been there. This is just a slide on where we are today. I like the quote from Alan Greenspan. It's a particularly powerful one. One area in which education investment appears to have paid off is our community colleges. And President Obama was of the same opinion, so.
He should be.
Yeah. Yeah, I also wanted to do under disclaimers, because, you know, this is all trying to be transparent these days, so I did want to tell you that as president of West Valley College, I did occasionally use my personal email to send messages to my staff. And recently I did build a wall on the porch to my house that had a tie-in to Mexico. I wanted to tell you that too. Mr. Tapia, who's my contractor, is doing a beautiful job, and I paid him to build that wall. Not quite the same, but I just wanted you to know. We covered that already. Okay, so this is where we are today, doing what matters in the recommendations. Okay, I'm going to we'll start at the general level and then move on down to some real specific strategies. It is my opinion that contract education directors are an incredible resource for their CEOs, their CIOs, for CTE deans and division chairs, and for the faculty. When I came an educational administrator, like I said, I spoke academic-ese really, really well. And we always try to do things the academic way. You know, you wanted to get something done, what did you have? You had a meeting, you called everybody up and told them to come to campus, come to a meeting. the message we usually gave to business when we went out and had an opportunity to meet with somebody in a company. Of course, at that point, I didn't realize that your chances of doing a cold call to the CEO of a successful business like Amgen and getting in to see him or her was essentially zero. That's not how it works in business. It doesn't work that way. So you would get a meeting, but it would be with their PR person, right, or their HR person. And then and the message you would deliver, this is what we would say. We'd go in and say, well, we do really good work. I mean, we're good people and we do good work, but we're really hurting. Our equipment's out of date, and our labs are falling apart, and our students have real issues, and our faculty has kind of gotten out of touch with things, and so we really need some help, fixing all of this. Well, what I didn't realize, what a businessman hears is, we're losers. We suck eggs and we're losers, and we'd like you to invest in us.
We still do.
So that little HR person or PR person would give you a little check, maybe for $1,000 or something, and you can go on your way. We call all these company leaders and tell them they're invited to a meeting on our campus. You're invited to, in the middle of your busy day, making millions of dollars or thousands or whatever, we'd like you to stop, come up, sit around a table, and we'll discuss all this, and the faculty will throw out their ideas, and all the things kind of faculty say, the administrator will say, yeah, and we have, and then the businessman would timidly say, well, could you do this? We'll say, well, no, we can't do that because Title V says we can't do that, and EdKits says we can't do that, and the board says we can't do this, and they'd all leave. Basically, we try to have a potluck dinner, but all we bring to the table is our hunger. Hi, we're invited here today to see what you would bring to eat. That's not how potluck works. But doesn't understand that. That doesn't make any sense to them at all. I mean, yeah, they give to charities and things, but we were kind of in that category. Nice people who run a little charity, and maybe we can throw a little something their way. Well, that's not the way to be a partner with business and industry. I'm sorry. And I can't take any credit for this either, because I was taught by a really outstanding contract ed economic development director who come out of the banking industry. She was dynamite, and I don't like to mention her name because she gets mad at me but she's now a president of a community college here in California, I'll tell you that. But anyway, so she taught us, me and the president of the college, and I worked for one of the most dynamic presidents, I think, in California, Diane Van Hook. But we both learned how to interact with business from our contract ed director. She said, first of all, they're not going to be partners with you unless they think you have something valuable to give. You got to go out and say, we're the best. We are your #1 number for training in this area. And whatever you want trained, we will do a great job, and we'll do it on time. And you don't have to worry about any bureaucracy or any regulations or anything. That's our job. We'll take care of all that crap, for you. And we'll get you what you need to do. I attended a meeting once where in the aerospace